Hello everybody, I'm Robin Davis. I'm the chairman of the TCCA's Transport Group.
And I'm David Taylor. I'm the vice chair of the TCCA Transport Group.
Today we're going to talk to you about mission critical communications in the transport market, and particularly some of the activities for this year, and our workshop that is coming up in Amsterdam in March. So let's just tell you a little bit about the Transport Group. Tetra and Critical Communications Association, the members put themselves together and basically decided that there was significant interest in mission critical communications and the transport arena. So in 2006 the association created the Tetra Rail Working Group, and the first meeting of that was held in London Underground in here in the UK, and basically about 10 people went to that first meeting with the aim of looking at how to promote Tetra in the transportation and particularly the railways arena. And a number of the users, London Underground and a couple of other rail operators, were particularly interested in railway signalling. So when the group was formed, the objectives were to look at getting a group of people together to document and consolidate the rail needs for voice and data, to look at existing applications in the metro and urban railway area and to document those, and to identify the eventual gap between Tetra and any present features that might come along in the near future, so that could aid the Tetra roadmap. And finally, it was about adding that information to the Tetra Association's website at the time. The group started off very positively, but due to sort of pressures of work, activities slimmed down. Subsequently, in 2009, there was a re-election of the chair and the co-chair at that time, in which I took over as the chairman, and the vice chairman was Jose Manuel Martin from Teltronic. And that meeting took place in Munich. It was also attended by David and about 15 other members. With the growing interest in Tetra and transportation, we actually changed our name of our group from the Railways Group to the Transport Group. And in 2012, again, due to growing pressures, David took over very kindly as the vice chairman. And I think it's just important to note there that this is a voluntary role for us all. We do have day jobs, both myself and David are consultants, and therefore pressures of work sometimes do come up. But it is our intent to be as proactive as we can be in between our day jobs, and to work with suppliers, users, operators to promote and to hopefully help them with the challenges of rolling out mission critical communications in the transport market. David, do you want to say anything?
Yes, so yes, I've been involved in the TCCA Rail Group and then the Transport Group for many years, and then in 2012 I became the vice chair of the group, and we've been developing various things. Just talking about the membership for a moment. The membership is primarily TCCA members, but not exclusively. Like many of the other TCCA groups, we welcome people to come and join the group from other parts of the industry. They may be users, they may not necessarily even use Tetra, but if they've got an interest in transportation, we'd welcome them to join the group. Membership is quite wide-ranging. We've got a number of users, real users. We've got London Underground. We've most recently got the public transport company in Brussels, STIB, and they will actually be presenting at the workshop we'll be talking about in a minute. We have suppliers, we have system integrators, we have consultants. So we have a wide range of membership of the group. Work we've done is, but one of the things we did was identify rail requirements. While we were doing the rail group, we had an action to look and see how rail requirements would develop between now and in the future, and to do this gap analysis, as Robin talked about earlier, as to how Tetra met those requirements. So we developed this set of current and future rail requirements, and then in fact those requirements have fed into another group which we'll perhaps talk about a bit later, the Critical Communications Broadband Group. So our input has gone in through the various other committees into other groups, and it's important that we work with the various other groups within the TCCA to develop requirements where they're needed, to identify gaps, and to also generally promote Tetra and critical communications into the transport industry.
So, so as David said, the group is open to TCCA members and users that are not necessarily TCCA members but are interested parties. You know, we like to welcome people from the transport industry into the group. And again, one of the main sort of milestones and achievements for the group in the last year is that we very much are now corresponding with the UIC and talking about railway requirements and future mission critical broadband requirements. And certainly a number of years ago, David, that probably wouldn't have been heard of, because Tetra and GSMR certainly were very much competing technologies.
So, yes.
So we're very happy that members and people from the UIC are working with us now and supporting us in all in a unified way to look very much at the future. But talking about 2014 and the transportation group, today where we are is the members are looking at understanding the industry's challenges for mission critical communications, and hopefully looking at relaying those to the wider community and interested messages. We're very much looking at defining those complementary services and what might be required in the future. And as such, as David said, certainly in the last year, the activities of the group directly have not been really that visible, because a lot of the members have been supporting the Critical Communications Broadband Group, going to meetings generally every couple of months and looking at that a very important area. In addition to that, one of the other main sort of pinnacles of activity was we'd always talked about trying to look at how Tetra could become a service, a pipe, an enabler, if you would like, for railway signalling systems. So again, through sort of legacy decisions and points out there, GSMR was always sort of the technology of choice for railway signalling applications. What we wanted to do as a group was look at what were the differences of GSMR versus Tetra, what things could be done with Tetra to enable railway signalling to be run over it. A number of large transport operators, some in India, some in Asia, particularly Brazil, South America, were always on the phone to us saying, when is Tetra going to be used to run railway signalling? So when Jose was around, he very much looked at that piece. Teltronic managed to find a country, a railway operator, a railway inspectorate as well, who could certify and basically trial and run Tetra and railway signalling together. And last year they achieved that in Kazakhstan. I will always never say it correctly. And also I'm pleased to announce that last year in the Tetra Awards, Teltronics won an award for that piece of work. So we've actually seen through the activities of this group working with some of the suppliers, and also the suppliers need to necessarily do a lot of their own research and development, but we have actually achieved a pretty major milestone for Tetra to be used in that space.
Yeah, and in fact Tetra is also used in Taiwan in a high-speed rail project. So there's the Taiwan high-speed rail, which is, as they say, high-speed rail, which people said, Tetra, will it be suitable? Well, it's been proved to work very well in that environment. Also, while in Europe, GSMR is used for mainline operations, invariably it is the technology of choice for metro systems and underground systems. It's used also moving into the wider transportation. There are a number of bus systems, and this is where we are looking next, is what we need to do to move Tetra, the transportation group, to address the complete transport sector.
Yeah, and like David said, I mean, other transport areas that are growing interest is airports, is ports and harbours, is even more urban transport. We have the Highways Agency in the UK who are Tetra users. There are other sort of highways and transportation, even road tolling sort of applications out there that are also looking at transport. And again, last year, transport actually pretty much peaked in terms of the number of installed contracts, and the fastest growing area was transport. And 98% of all the new tenders and procurements that come out for digital radio systems tend to today in the transport market be looking at or going down and awarding contracts to Tetra suppliers. So that's very much about the transport group. A number of activities we do is we have some conference calls, usually every sort of quarter. We tend to try and meet as a group a couple of times a year, and then of course we attend any sort of critical communications events. So I think that brings us nicely on to talking about the workshop and what's going to happen at Critical Communications Europe in March, and what we put together.
Yes, indeed. So the transportation group will be doing a workshop on the first day of Critical Communications Europe. For those people that are not getting to Europe, we'll also be doing a similar sort of workshop at the main event, the Critical Communications World. But in Amsterdam, in Critical Communications Europe, we are running a workshop. We're going to be, and we've got 6 really good speakers to present. It will be very much a workshop. We will be looking for interaction with people. If people want to come and make comments, they want to disagree, that's fine. It is very much the workshop. It's not just a set of lectures. And Robin will be talking, introducing critical communications. I'll be looking at what the challenges are for the future for transportation and how communications can help solve some of those challenges. We then have a gentleman from Airbus coming in and talking to us about the aviation business and how Tetra contributes to the aviation business. As we said earlier, STIB from Brussels, they're a member of the TCCA Transportation Group, and Frederick is going to be talking about that and the future demands for critical communications. With critical communications, we are looking in the future for mobile broadband. There's obviously a demand from public safety and from transportation for mobile broadband. So we are going to be covering that as well. We're not just going to be looking at Tetra, we're going to be looking at where LTE might play a role. And we've got somebody from Alcatel-Lucent talking about LTE, is it the future for transport? And then the chair of the TCCA CCBG, Critical Communications Broadband Group, Tony Gray, he is going to be coming along and talking to us about the work that's been taking place in there and how that particularly will affect the delivery of mission critical broadband to transportation, because it's all very well having lots and lots of standards, having standards work developed. It's a question of how best to deliver it so that the users can make the benefit from the technology, because technology by itself it doesn't actually help. It's how the users can make use of that technology.
Yeah, so as David has said, we have a very interesting action-packed sort of workshop there, but it is about interaction. We do want people to come along, interact, bring their worries and their woes and what necessarily stops them having a good night's sleep, and please share them with us.
Indeed.
As long as it's to do with transport, of course, which is important. And particularly, you know, we've tried to get a good mix of speakers. There's some very good thought leaders, industry leaders coming and presenting there. We are very fortunate to have Frederick from Airbus. He came to the workshop last year, and I think pretty much, had one of the best presentations I'd seen in many years. Not just because I'm an aviation enthusiast and I like aeroplanes, but it was pretty impressive, David.
Yeah, it was indeed. And last year we also had a presentation on how Tetra is used in the Audi factory in Germany. Again, that was a very interesting presentation. Listening to that. Unfortunately, they didn't bring any samples with them. Whether the gentleman from Airbus will bring some samples this time, I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, and again, one area we like to promote where Tetra is used, of course, is Formula One. But we've never ever had any Formula One drivers come along and present. So maybe we could ask Lewis Hamilton or your favourite driver to turn up and present on what a user thinks of the voice quality of mission critical communications whilst they're driving around at several hundred miles an hour. Wouldn't that be good?
It is. Well, it is indeed used with the Ferrari team. So yes, that is another use of Tetra. Yes, and this workshop, what we haven't told you yet is where it is taking place, or we told you where, but we've not told you when. And it's on the 10th of March. So it's the 10th of March in Amsterdam as part of the Critical Communications Europe conference.
And IIR are hosting this event, and I'm sure you can Google or search on the web for Critical Communications Europe, and I think it comes up pretty much at the top as the first or second hit, and I'm sure there'll be a link via this webinar to enable you to access more details. Other thoughts on sort of previous workshops, really, David? I mean, we've actually ran about 6 of these now over the years, different parts of the world, different audiences. We, as workshop organisers, between other workshop organisers, we always have a bit of a competition over who has more delegates than others. There are a number of workshop chairmen out there who like to think their room is full of hundreds of people, where they're all standing at the back. But we like to think we have the quality of the audience, and of course some of the best speakers in the industry. So please do, come along and attend.
Certainly, I would agree. Every workshop has been slightly different. We've had different speakers, we've had different participants, and we've had some very interesting stuff. Some stuff from Alcatel-Lucent in the US on how LTE is used over there, and the future for mobile broadband in the US. So we're not just Europe or UK. We're very much a international working group. I'm not sure he's involved too much now, but we have had membership from Australia. Yes, the Australian gentleman is still involved in our group. So we have Australia, Europe, America. We have a wide range of people involved in it. And as I say, each workshop has been different and very rewarding, I found.
Yeah, and for those of you who can't make Amsterdam, of course, the next event, Critical Communications World in Asia, will of course be action-packed again. It will be full of people, and we can guarantee, can't we, David, that the workshop will actually be very, very busy, because Asia certainly over the years has been the #1 place where critical communications has grown in the transport market. It's very much where things took off, dare I say it, even though they're not aeroplanes. But I mean, one of the first areas where TETRA was looked at was in Singapore, where actually David was involved. That followed in Kuala Lumpur with the Express Rail Link, where I was actually involved in that, and then that went on into the high-speed area, as David said earlier, with Taiwan High-Speed Rail, where actually I was one of the advisors on that project, where trains are running 320 kilometres an hour. And Asia has always been the place where transportation is very important to them all. Critical communications is important to all of those operators. So we do, whenever we go to Asia, get very good attendance at these events. So basically what I'm saying is, if you're interested in the things we've been saying today, then please book up soon, because I'm sure spaces will be limited.
Yes.
So I think that's probably us for now, and we're out of time.
I think so.
And we need to go and find out if our own transportation network is running today. So we'd like to say a goodbye, and we look forward to seeing you in Amsterdam and in Asia. Thank you.
Okay, and look forward to seeing you in Amsterdam and Asia. Thank you very much.